Guys, I got to admit, I'm paranoid. I'm probably the most paranoid person you're ever going to meet in radio, at least here. Not the most paranoid person you're ever going to meet. I don't know who you run into in your personal lives, but if you ever run into me, I'm going to be one of the most paranoid people you ever meet. What?
Anthony wanted to power rank earlier, but no, we're just going to do it while we're here. Most paranoid people in the building.
In the building?
Yeah, let's go.
Am I doing it or is he doing it?
You're doing it. You brought it up. You're doing it.
Paranoid, number one, me. Number two, I would say Mitch.
Hey, that's good.
How you like that one?
Shows 50% paranoid right now.
And then the third one I would say is, I would say Keith. I think other people might have some self-esteem issues that they got to work out. But, yeah, I'm definitely the most paranoid.
You say Keith because...
He's a boss.
Well... Not only that, but now he's got some weird conspiracy theory that was supposedly Ohio State's going to have their national championship vacated last year.
You know what? And that all night.
Player that was on another team, but they were getting information from. Boy, it just rolls off the tongue like the Connor Stallions cheating saga.
I got to tell you, I'm entertained by. I don't consume a lot of it. I got to admit, the snippets I do see, the pizza reviews and stuff, I find to be entertaining. I like several of the guys over there. I thought that when he came out on Big Noon Kickoff, Dave Portnoy, I was like, oh, it's like Jim Cornette.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But then it continued, and it's going to continue, and I'm going, well, you can't do it every week, can you? Maybe you can. But it's like, well, there's other games that got to be played too. Like you can be mean-spirited to others. Is it just going to always be Ohio State and Michigan stuff? And
I think that would get really old.
This weird thing of making up like a vacated championship or something like that ain't going to compute either.
Yeah, it seems like, all right, you've got this thing where you're going to come out and you're going to be a big heel to one fan base in particular, but like, why do Iowa fans care about that in week 4?
Penn State fans don't care either.
They're just not going to watch.
Like, you do have other... hey, Ohio State's the biggest fan base, and Michigan's one of the biggest fan bases.
Sure.
But Penn State's a massive fan base, and so is a lot of other schools in the Big Ten, and I just don't know if every week that's going to work. So it's like, well,
you can't just... USC?
Yeah, you can't just pound that one thing into the ground. You're right about that.
Washington.
You can't just do that every single week. And so when I first saw it, it's like, oh, this is going to be fun.
And it was fun.
And
I
thought
it was fun.
But then, like, this week, we're just still doing the same old thing. And I'm going, well, you got to, come on, we got to grow from this. You're going to have to break something down here. It can't all just be Michigan, Ohio State. You can do that leading up to the game, but there's a whole schedule in between that.
Yeah,
for both these teams.
And like every week, will it be a new championship that doesn't count that he's going to talk about?
That's just how I feel.
Is that going to go over well with the Big Ten?
I'm still entertained, but it's that might get old pretty quick. But my goal, this is where I'm going to get hammered for it. My goal for this season is, I'm going to get killed. Here we go. My goal for this season is I want to win enough for everybody to keep their jobs. I don't like looking for new people. And I already have people who heard the Catherine Hickman audio, and they're like, you're an idiot. Don't stop saying that. My issue, guys, is this. Everywhere we go outside of Cleveland, and I don't know if it's like it could very well be the rest of the NFL's joke on us, and we don't know it. I see another one of these guys, these football guys, and they hold Andrew Berry in the highest regard. The highest regard. And they look at Kevin Stefanski, and the word guru gets thrown around. And I think a lot of Browns fans are going, uh-oh, really? Like, there's lists that put Andrew Berry in the top 10 in general managers in the NFL, and I'm going, I don't know if that one's going to work out for you. I think that maybe we just have our darlings, and we've decided to keep our darlings here in the media. And that may very well be true to all you guys. So I am very paranoid that the moment we let go of these guys, they latch on in other places and they end up doing well. To which I brought up to Lima yesterday on the phone, even though in the first segment it sounds like we hate each other. I brought up to Lima on the phone yesterday, and he goes, well, if you get that, he's like, that's going to take, especially for a guy like Barry, you told me that's going to take years because you can go out and take the first overall pick next year, get yourself a good quarterback, and then you're laughing by the end of all that. And I go, yeah, but still, we might not get it right. And then I got another Baker Mayfield situation on my hands where everybody and their brother wants to throw him in my face for things. I will start talking about baseball, and I'll get Baker Mayfield stuff. Like, it's nonstop. And it's hard. I tell you what, it gets to the point where it's hard not to root against him. Like, I try not to root against him because while I think that he shared some of it, I'm trying to move on and get us out of this quagmire that we're in. But damn, man, every single second you look around your shoulder, there's somebody with a Baker Mayfield thought on you. And I'm just starting to get rid of this whole Browns fired Belichick. Browns fired Belichick. It helps that he lost 48-14 the other night, but it helps that we got rid of the whole Browns fired Belichick thing, because I always say Baltimore fired Belichick, and you always tell me that that's still like a little thought, but everybody still thinks the Browns fired Belichick, and I'm going, well, I'll take it to my grave that we didn't fire Bill Belichick, for crying out loud. And I just don't want that to happen again. Because everybody outside of Cleveland keeps telling me that these guys are fantastic and that we'd be total fools to let these guys go. So I look at good organizations that are telling me that these guys are right, and I'm wondering if I'm just putting on clown makeup in the mirror. I'll ask you guys that. Dead serious. Because, guys, we're at a major crossroads here that we need to discuss. I have an owner who's going to college football games before the season even starts. So his head is definitely thinking a bit about 2026 already. So he's got to figure out whether or not he's going to keep these people or he's not going to keep these people. And I got everybody and their brother telling him and telling me and telling everybody else that these guys are the good ones and that you're fools to let these guys go. So then I get to going, well, you only won 3 games last year. If you only win 5 games this year, you're gone. My goal is to win as many games as it would be to probably keep everybody employed. And it comes out of my mouth and I go, is that the right thing to do? Because do I trust at the end? Because when you hear that audio from Catherine Hickman, I can't say I do. Do you trust at the end that they'll make the right decision to draft the quarterback to get us out of this mess that we've been in here for the last umpteen years? And now we can just blame right on ourselves. Like that whole Johnny stuff yesterday, I could just say, well, he's an idiot and a goofball and did a lot of drugs and all the other things, and he just washed himself out of the league and he continues to be in denial. Okay, but Baker Mayfield's right there, and I keep getting the reminders about Baker Mayfield, and I got people taking the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to go to the Super Bowl this year, and that knocking is just going to get louder and louder and louder and louder, and I'm just going to go nuts. I can't make that decision. We can't make those mistakes again. So it's important, vitally important. And my goal is I want to win enough games because I don't want to do coaching searches and I don't want to do general manager searches and I don't want to have to start this whole mess all over again. But I don't have faith that they're going to win enough games to quiet criticism.
And then obviously, ironically, the more games they win, the harder it is to get the best quarterback in next year's draft. Or the guy that you think could be the best quarterback in next year's draft. That's what makes it really hard.
Does anybody agree with me? Does anybody agree with me? I just want what I think is best for the organization, but for the first time in years, I'm afraid to open a door. I got 3 doors in front of me, and I'm afraid to open for the first time in years.
Let me sum this up.
I can't tell you the last time I felt this way. I don't think I've ever felt this way. If I got 3 doors in front of me, Tone, I'm afraid to open up any of them.
So you're saying that because Kevin Stefanski's clearly the best coach they have had since... I actually liked Butch Davis, but, whatever.
Well, no. Butch Davis went to the playoffs.
Yeah.
He and Butch Davis are the only hires they've made that has actually proven that they've been better. Mm-hmm. In 25 years, they've fired so many coaches, and it just seemed to be either the same or worse. They're the only 2 where it's proven that they've been better.
And then GM-wise, I'll make the argument that I like John Dorsey's draft. He only had, 2 drafts. I liked his drafts better, but Andrew Berry is the best in terms of, I don't want to say systems because then I'm going to sound exactly like what we just made fun of.
So, you're
last
stuck
segment.
in the same spot I am.
No.
So you got to walk through a door, brother.
But Andrew Berry is, where is he? Like, we know pecking order, Kevin Stefanski is anywhere from, 8 to 14 in terms of head coaches in the NFL.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
I mean, do you have a better set of numbers?
I mean, yeah, right around there.
Okay. He's won 2 Coach of the Years, too. So in those years, he was a top 5 coach. But anywhere in that stretch, Stefanski, Barry, I don't know. I don't know where to put him in terms of GMs. I don't know. But you're talking about keeping this intact. I want to make sure everybody understands what you're arguing here is that you're worried what's behind.
I'm afraid we're going to let go of good people and we're going to hire worse.
Yes.
Is what I'm afraid of. Because it seems that this is reaching an untenable position of 6 years. We've made every excuse we possibly can, but I also know that it's like, how can I call it a put up or shut up year? I don't think they're going to win many games.
You're positive that they're good people.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
But that doesn't matter. If you like me and Hugh Jackson didn't get along, I don't think Hugh Jackson's a good guy.
No, I'm not talking about morally or ethically. I'm talking about you say I don't want to let go of good people.
Oh, yeah.
You're positive that they are a good NFL head coach and a good.
Oh no, I'm not positive
GM.
of that. I can't.
That's why
I'm not positive.
So are you wanting them to keep their jobs because you like them as people, or because they do what is necessary for the organization to be a winner?
I'm afraid of letting them go because I don't want to have in 10 years, like we hire 2 new guys and they're even worse, and then we get in the wrong quarterback and he sucks, and this whole thing is just an even worse mess. I can't do it. We can't do it anymore. We can't do it. The guys who used to call me up at night who were 60 years old and called me just a pup and that I was naive and I didn't know any better. Guys, I'm getting closer to that. So now I'm starting to really think about the mortality of a fan base here where it's like, we can't continue to do this. Like somebody has to write this. With 40-year-old quarterbacks with 2 pups in the 3rd round and 5th round can only be done so many times. It can only be done so many times. I can't continue to do this. Something in me is going to snap. I'm going to become like the media brethren that I've made fun of here over the last 14 years, and I'm terrified of it. I'm terrified of being dramatically cynical every single year to this team where I don't even see any positives in it. We can't continue to do this. And so if we get to a point where you let go of Andrew Berry and you let go of Kevin Stefanski, and then Kevin Stefanski ends up taking over a football team and they do good things, or Andrew Berry takes over a football team and they do good things, and I got Baker Mayfield doing good things continuously, I'm just going to pull my lip up over my face and walk out into the lake. I can't continue to do this as a fan. I can't continue to do it as a host. I mean, to the point where it's like, I'll go be an AD somewhere and go be happy. I'm serious, man. I'm at a major emotional crossroads here because I can't continue to weigh on this with the fan base, with all the changes that are coming. I can't do it any longer. And so I don't want them to be let go because of my paranoia of what they could be letting go. I think Jimmy Haslam may feel the same way.
And all that, even though it's been 6 years.
Yes. I think Jimmy Haslam may feel the exact same way because how can I say it's a put up or shut up year? I got Joe Flacco starting the season. He's 9-19 as a starter in his last how many games? You brought that up yesterday. I got and the guys behind him. It's not like I have number 1 overall sitting behind him. I got number 94 overall, whatever it is, sitting behind him. And then after him, I got 144, and 144 has a massive fan base. But do any of us think that that's going to change where we are with the quarterback next year? No. So I'm putting them to a standard of, well, you better go out and win. You ain't got a full deck. You don't have a full deck. So it's like, how many wins do they got to get? Does 6 wins keep them? Can I make an argument for 6 wins and keeping everybody?
I think Stefanski gets fired with 6 wins, but most people I've heard think what you think, that would be enough to bring him back.
216-474-0092. Talk me out of that idea if you feel it. If you agree, please. But if you feel like, hey, Ken, you're losing it. You're being a little bit paranoid here. Don't trust what the rest of the NFL says about these guys. Please let me know, because I'm telling you, 14 years we've been on the air here. 14, and this is the first time I've looked at what direction I think this team could go. I don't know what direction they could go. I have no idea. 216-474-0092. I should say, I don't have an idea where I want them to go. I have a crisis of confidence, Tom.
Is it that bad?
Because I don't want people to be fired. Because I don't like looking for new head coaches.
Even after,
but I don't want to.
It would be 6 full seasons. That's long for most teams in the NFL that aren't winning championships.
I don't.
Hell, Philadelphia got rid of their coach, and they shuffled their front office after winning a Super Bowl.
That's understood, and that is a hell of a thing to think about as we navigate this season. But I don't want to reward less than mediocrity. I mean, that's the 3-14 is terrible. It's hard to be that bad this year. But if ESPN is doing their predictor and they have 5-12 for crying out loud, it's like, what are we holding on to here? It's just going to have to be that simple. How on earth? Like, there has to be a point, and this is where I think we're a lot of Browns fans. Like, I'm catching hell on the YouTube comments, and guys, I appreciate you trying to talk me out of it here. Like, I think by the end of the year, and this is where the clarity has to come in, because it's before the season. There's a part of me that hopes that we prove everybody wrong. Like, I listen to a lot of football guys, like real football guys, not me goofing around with you guys. I listen to a lot of them, and I mean, they laugh. Nate Tice laughed about the Browns. Him and Matt Harmon and those guys, they just laughed and laughed about the Browns. Hilarious. The team that we spend most of our time talking about, fantasizing about, planning for, just laughed them off in the middle of their predictions and all that stuff. Great. And I go, okay, you guys laugh at the Browns, but you also say the Browns would be idiots to let go of the people that are in charge. You get what I'm saying there? Like, you guys,
I think it's split.
People laugh at the Browns, but you also say you're idiots if you let go of the guys in charge. Because again, and nobody outside except for Jason Lloyd. Jason Lloyd is totally 100% on board with us about this. It's like, yeah, Jimmy's the owner. Jimmy had to sign off, but Jimmy wasn't the one who spearheaded going after Deshaun Watson. It's like they have great big cover over Deshaun Watson. It's like, no, Jimmy was given the idea. And then he felt that he had to go deep enough to guarantee the contract because Deshaun never wanted to play here. Still doesn't want to be here. For crying out loud. Like, yeah, he was the one who was willing to go all in, but it wasn't like he was looking for the idea.
But do you think in this case, wouldn't this be the one time that fans would not go after Haslam for
firing coach for losing a bunch of football games, firing a general manager for losing a bunch of football games?
Like, we got into a cycle where it was every other year, new GM, new coach, and they got in that cycle, and it was like, all right, we're not even allowing anything to develop. We've allowed it to develop now.
Where's Kevin on the tenure list now in terms of coaches in the NFL?
I remember we looked at this last month.
Where's Andrew on the tenure list?
I think they're definitely top half of the league.
They got to be top 10 by now. 6 years. I mean, we go through 6 coaching changes every single year, 5 to 7 at least. So I mean, they got to be somewhere when it comes to tenure. They got to be somewhere in the top third. So it's like you've given them a good long period of time. Jason's going to join us tomorrow at 7:20. We don't need to go over that whole thing again. But I mean, Jason's the one who agrees with us on it. Like, again, I like Kevin and I like Andrew, and I think that they can be smart people. But damn, like, there's times where you had a bad run. You had a recent bad run, and I don't know how they can bring you back. Yes.
Kevin is 9th currently.
Jeez.
Tomlin, John Harbaugh, Andy Reid, McDermott, Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, Zach Taylor, and Matt LaFleur. Those are the ones longer tenured than him.
Okay. One of those always gets an out because his owner's cheap. And they've been, obviously, I mean, he's coaching a Super Bowl for crying out loud, but I don't know how much that means to anybody.
He's the shortest tenure in the AFC North, if that matters.
He's the shortest. Well, geez, Louise. Well, okay, I guess you got that going for you. That's one thing. Where's Andrew? Do we know where Andrew at off the top of our head? That's probably harder to find. Yeah. That's probably way harder to find. Well, no, I mean, because it's got to be, because I know you've had, some general managers have been around a little bit longer than what head coaches would be. But if you go 6 years, and it's like, hey, man, you gave them a good, strong amount of time to get it going. And knowing what we know that just outside of Cleveland people just refuse to accept is where, hey, man, like, he was talked into that to make that decision, the owner was. So if the owner was talked into it to make that decision to go after Deshaun, then he doesn't get the same type of, and maybe that's where the miss is, that they don't get the same type of
let me ask you this
leeway here that they get elsewhere.
We have
15th.
not.
He's 15th. Okay.
We have not. So the owners have been a lot more.
And that includes guys like Jerry Jones, who are on that list, who's been tenured since he bought the team.
Okay,
True.
So I mean, Jerry doesn't even count because he has, something terrible has to happen.
So the owners don't like to pull the plug on the GM, which is funny because I think Stefanski has a higher. I would say maybe I don't know. I think people are very fractured on this stuff, but I think his rating locally is higher than the GM.
I think
now.
if you got rid of one, I think people would be just fine with getting rid of the other.
You probably would. So does it mean anything to you extra that Haslam, and it's not uncommon for owners to take private jets to go see, big time quarterbacks, especially 4 of them, which is what they were doing, plus other players. They got 2 first-round picks, not just going to be a quarterback. They're obviously like Caleb Downs. Why not? Right? If they're picking, number 6 overall, who knows? That's not uncommon. But what has been uncommon, we have not seen Jimmy do this. And if he's done it, he hasn't been public. Like, we have heard that he's been at games over the years, but we haven't seen him on the field shaking hands. That seems to be not letting the guard down, but almost letting everybody know, yes, I am here. And by the way, I'm bringing the GM, and the coach is going to his first big-time college football game. Did that mean anything to you?
I think that meant a lot of things to a lot of the fan base. In a certain term, I think a lot of us who pay attention to this stuff, I think we were trying to get ourselves excited for 2025. And again, guys, I think Friday we'll get here, and I think we'll get ourselves going because it's a football game, and you only get so many of these things to get to enjoy, to try to get to enjoy. But when you're trying to get yourself psyched up for a season that nobody has you doing anything well in, and you see the owner and the general manager on the sideline at Ohio State, and then you read the reports that the owner, and I imagine maybe the general manager, but I'm not sure, that at least the owner was at Clemson LSU with 2 quarterbacks that people think are going to be top quarterbacks. I don't know much about Cade Klubnik being there, but I've been telling you guys that for the last year. But with the other guy, with Garrett Nussmeier, it's starting to feel like a lot of folks are going, well, where's your head at? Are you feeling about 2025? Because if you're not feeling 2025, fans were already having to be talked into 2025. So they're going to be already looking at 2026. Albert Breer kind of mentioned as much yesterday on Afternoon Drive, talking about the Browns' presence at these college games.
I don't think it's quarterback specific. I think maybe like the involvement of the owner would be. Like that's the one thing I would say is like sometimes when the owner goes on trips, it could signify that. I mean, it also, like for some owners, is just an opportunity to get around their scouts, and it can be a good trip just as far as bonding with your football people. And look, like they weren't the only ones. I mean, there are a lot of GMs that will go out on the road that specific weekend for a couple reasons. First of all, their season hasn't started, right? So they have a little more flexibility to do it. Since the cut down isn't that weekend anymore, there is not the amount of work for them to do at home than there used to be. And the players are mandated to be off, right? Like there's rules in place. I think you got to give them something like 4 or 5 days off in that window. So you can't even work with the players if you had any choice to.
Well, Albert, how likely is it that the Browns are going to actually draft a quarterback in the first round next year then?
How often does a 3rd-round pick or a 5th-round pick become your franchise quarterback? I mean, I think it's pretty self-explanatory looking at the depth chart when you see a 40-year-old as a starter, and then you see 2 rookies that were drafted outside of, the top 80 picks, whatever that number is, that are on the roster. Like, chances are they're going to be looking for a quarterback in the first round of the draft in April. It's just all you have to do is look at it logistically. And so, of course, they need to be out there. They need to be looking at all the different quarterbacks. They need to be doing all of their homework. And the live exposure part of it is a really important piece of it. So I would say they'd be more worthy of criticism if they weren't doing all of this right now.
Audio again, you can hear that Afternoon Drive. That's Albert Breer on Afternoon Drive. Find more of that at 923thefan.com. Albert Breer's right. Andrew Berry's there to scout everybody, scouting everybody. Jimmy Haslam's got a business to run. Jimmy Haslam, I think he wanted to turn the keys over to Baker. I think he did, and I think he did it too soon for Baker, and Baker's even admitted that. I think that he wants a guy that he can trust to be the franchise quarterback. I think that's why he was on that trip. I think the Arch Manning stuff, guys, I know Arch Manning was terrible on Saturday, and so it's now the cool thing to beat Arch Manning up while he's down and all that stuff. We'll find out how great he actually is. Maybe he isn't that good. We'll see how the rest of the season goes. But I think he wanted to kind of kick the tires on whether or not, okay, maybe there's some people down here. It's a big college football game. He is a college football fan, but maybe there's some people I could talk to see just how interested he would be in coming out this year. And then when you go to Garrett Nussmeier and when you go to Cade Klubnik, those guys probably are coming out this year. And so definitely you would go down there and see, because you're trying to find out more. You're tired of everything that has led with the behind-the-scenes stuff with Baker, definitely the behind-the-scenes stuff with you-know-who, and all the other stuff. You got to find someone you can trust. The owner's down there. Andrew Berry's down there for everybody. Absolutely. The owner's down there for one guy. Technically 3 guys, but he's there to find one guy in particular. And if he's thinking about 2026, I think a lot of fans are thinking about 2026. And I think it makes it easier for the fans thinking about 2026. And I don't want you to find it insulting, because I think that when we play that audio, in hearing 3 different guests during Around the AFC North, and they blame your owner, and owners are blamed all the time. But I don't know why I'm just had my breath taken away. We blame owners all the time. It's an easier target. It's where the buck's supposed to stop, but it's all the same thing. It's for Watson. So everybody's like, well, especially if somebody says what, they tied his hand around his back, talking about Andrew Berry about that. It's like, well, no, knowing what Lyman and I and a few others here know, and we've said many times, it's like, well, there's an idea that's pushed out there, and then that idea was put into effect, and everybody operated in the building as if this situation was never going to happen. Like, he was never going to get hurt 2 more times, seriously, technically 3 more times, seriously. They never thought he was going to be that rusty where he just is completely devoid of anything that used to make him a special quarterback. None of them thought that was going to happen. Well, again, someone's going to have to pay the fiddler for it. So, when Jason says it, where it's like, hey, they put him to the idea of it. They went out and they did it. Deshaun did not want to come here, and so Jimmy had to make an offer he could not refuse. And so we're left paying the fiddler on that. But it's still who gave you the idea. Because I'll take it to my dying day. I know for a fact ownership loved Baker. I know for a fact that they still, hey, can we work something out here? Can we get this done? Egos, they're tough to deal with, man. When you let your ego start negotiating your contracts and negotiating things, like, and Baker's always easy to say. Like, it's much easier to say now when you're on a really good football team and you're playing really well. Let's call it where it is. Baker's playing really well. It's easier to be this way where, like, hey, Johnny Manziel still rips the Browns every chance he gets because he's a loser and he's living in the past. Baker doesn't have to live in the past. He's a winner. And it's much easier to be forgiving or to have, like, hey, let's let bygones be bygones when things are going really well for you and things ain't going so well for your former team. So now I have this situation, and I never want to live with it again. And now I have to think, all right, are these people going to be good enough to keep around? Because I don't want to go looking for new people. And then we play the Kat Hickman audio, and I got a bunch of people ripping her up and down going, Ken, how could you condone this? How could you condone this? And I'm trying to give her the pass of going, hey, it's nothing but a non-answer. Kevin non-answers every day, except you guys rip him every day for non-answers. Because when the team's bad, you demand answers. That's your right. You should demand answers. And that bothers you. So I have no saying that they're non-answers on a 3-win football team that you had a hand in picking in. That's no excuse. It's not an excuse. And so while I have ripped the man across the table from me for lining up the excuse of bad luck and TV deals and calling him Anthony Dolan so many times over, hey, I can't sit there and say, bad luck, Achilles injuries, and bad luck, shoulder injuries, and bad luck, bad picks of guys who end up getting arrested. I can't do that. Can't do it. Just because I'm more comfortable in knowing who I know doesn't make it any better. But the backside of that is I know for a fact, if we're talking facts, 2 times in my life and since 1999 have they fired anybody and actually gotten better. It's always been just as bad or worse. One was Butch Davis, which ended up being bad, but it did get better. And the other one's Kevin Stefanski. And right now, Kevin Stefanski is with us. I can't say the same for Andrew and John. Can't say that. I could say Andrew's better than Sashi. I could say he's better than Joe Banner picking guys out of a magazine and then ripping the Browns on Twitter years later.
Sashi did do a nice tank job. You can't deny that.
Yes. So I can't do that. But I know that they've been better from where they're at, but does that mean if they're just better than absolute terrible, does that make them good enough for you? But I also know that we've talked about coaches who are like, hey, they're coaches who are handheld coaches. They hold the hand of the team until they're ready to compete. Then you go out there and you get yourself a real competitive coach. That concept's been thrown out all the time. This team ain't that way. They're not ready to compete. They got pieces who can compete if you get yourself the right guy, and maybe they can hit the ground running with Lenoris Sellers next year or somebody else next year. I think that the Washington Commanders of the world are few and far between, and we shouldn't use them as an example all the time like we do so brazenly. So it's a bad goal, but that's the goal.
Does it
and
matter?
I know you guys find
Kenny?
that insulting, and I apologize.
Does it matter? Because we already went through this once, so we had Kyle Shanahan in the building, and we flailed away and let him leave. If this happens again with Vrabel, like if Vrabel's really good this year, you have him making the postseason.
Yeah.
If he's really good in New England, what do you think people are going to say?
They're going to say that we let another one get away. I don't know if he would have been the head coach here. I think him and Kevin are close enough where he would have gone, nah, I ain't going to be the head coach here.
Just out of professional.
I think Mike Vrabel's a stand-up dude. I don't think Mike Vrabel's any snake. I think what you see is what you get with Mike Vrabel, and what you get can be a very scary individual that believes in his principles. That's what I think. Again, as Zach tells the story, Mike Vrabel had Urban Meyer seeing God at one moment. So I don't think that's a guy to cross, and I don't think that's a guy that's easily crosses others. I think that he stands up for things, so I don't know if he would have accepted the job, even if it was said. Maybe if that's the case.